Good morning and welcome to yet another exciting edition of The Focus Show. This time around, we'll be taking a look at corporate social responsibility and corporate social investment. And of course, to help us divulge into this topic is the editorial coordinator, Jemima Dembele, and the marketing coordinator, Shannon Kemp, of the CSI CSR Focus Edition. So sit back, relax, as we divulge into how we can build a blossoming Namibia.
Despite her demanding schedule, Mrs. Poenie Vanderberg has dedicated time to discuss the impact of law firms on our economy. By actively engaging in various initiatives and investments, law firms are not only contributing to the well-being of society but also fostering sustainable economic growth. The J.P. Kuruwahi Foundation, launched on March 25, 1999 by His Excellency the Father of the Nation and Patron Dr. Sam Nujoma in Windhoek, aims to sponsor scholarships for law students in Namibia and South Africa. This investment ensures the development of a robust legal education system and a future generation of talented lawyers. Happy Independence Day. 34 years. We share information to empower our communities with knowledge. Celebrate all these milestones with Namibia Media Holdings, NMH, African Child Development Trust, My Zone, High School Engagement, Institutions of Higher Learning, Tourismus and Tourism Expo.
Now, the CSI CSR Focus Edition will be out tomorrow, but here to give us a little bit of a preview of what you can expect in the magazine is Jemima Dembele, the editorial coordinator. Good morning, how are you?
Good morning, Glenora. Thank you for having me. I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm quite excited to have you on because, I got a preview, I'm happy that I got before everyone else. And you guys did an amazing job on the magazine. I mean, I read it and I was just like, wow, I was so inspired. And also just the topic that you guys are handling, corporate social responsibility and corporate social investment and why it's so important. Can you briefly tell us what stories stood out for you and why it's so important that, we have this as a topic?
Well, let me correct you there. It's actually a tabloid that we decided to go for this time around, not a gloss magazine. But what makes this tabloid so particularly special in the context of celebrating 34 years of independence is that we really wanted to dive into the overarching theme of building a blossoming Namibia. And what that means is zooming in on our blossoming key industries that are the building blocks to building our proverbial Namibian house, using these industries as then these building blocks, as I said, right? So we understand that these different industries such as mining that we featured, green hydrogen. We also took a look at the education sector, its ebb and its flows. We took a look at the startup ecosystem, and we'll be diving a lot more into that with our chat that we're going to have with Nita Shikongo from Basecamp, which is a hub for startups, because we know that is also a very key component of Namibia's future and building the proverbial Namibian house, as we know. So in that context, we also then took a look at the role that corporate social investment and corporate social responsibility plays in shaping and forming communities that operate within these different industries. We took a look at the impact that corporate such as Capricorn has in terms of contributing to the education sector. We also then featured articles and stories of Dr. Veda Kauta and Hoveka. Yes, exactly. So they also then offer scholarships, and we really wanted to make it clear that corporate social investment is an essential building block when it comes to building a blossoming Namibia.
And I think most people think that corporate social investment and responsibility is for certain, niche markets, what I'm saying. I would not have thought a law firm could partake in social corporate responsibility. Of course they should, but you know what I'm saying? So when you featured that and I saw that, I was like, oh, I think I have a very limited view of what corporate social responsibility and investment is. So in your, experience, would you say, why is it important, or how would you say the CSI and the CSR play in terms of progressing the Namibian nation in terms of social development and sustainable development? And why do you think this publication highlights this?
Well, it plays a fundamental role, you know, and I think in every industry there's a unique way in which corporates can show up. And the role that this particular publication plays is really in informing the nation that, hey, for instance, if you don't know what it is that this particular entity does and how it makes a difference in the environment that it operates, then that is something that you can look towards understanding better. But also, if you are then operating in any one of the industries that we profiled and you have no idea how it is that you can step up, how it is that you can support the Aboriginal San or Vahimba people because you do not understand their plight, that is what this publication then seeks to do. It seeks to basically outline ways in which corporates can get involved, be it in entertainment, be it in nurturing the nativity of our people, be it in education or other industries. But fundamentally, it is important that you understand that we are highlighting opportunities here by highlighting the problems that we have in our communities, and by also giving corporates that have done or have made a difference the platform to showcase what it is that they do. And so let me give you an example. Say with the education sector, yes, government does fund schools, right? But government schools do receive money from the government annually. However, this is not enough to meet the critical needs of children, be it from primary school all the way to tertiary. There's always opportunities and there's always gaps for corporates to come in and fill. And if you take the plight of the San people, which is also an excellent editorial and one of my favorites, if you must know, that was featured and was so well written by Namibia Media Holdings journalist Jemima Biekus, who I'm honored to share a name with. But she highlighted the plight of the San people, the Aboriginal San people, so well, because you need to understand that these are people that are used to living in the bush. But in the same vein, you need to consider that in the face of rife urbanization, then these groups of people are then split in two. There are those that want to remain and live the way that they do without having to feel the weight of urbanization change their livelihood. And there you have an opportunity for corporates to then again come in and support these people in nurturing their nativity, in preserving our cultural heritage, because this is the only place in the world where you will find the Ovahimba, the San Aboriginal people. So there already you feel a sense of responsibility towards these people. In the same vein, then you find the other group of people from the same group of Aboriginals who would then like to become part of this rife urbanization that is happening where they are based, be it in the Kunene or the Omaheke regions, but they want to form part and parcel of this urbanization. In that same vein, there's also an opportunity for corporates to then get involved and help these people become less marginalized. I don't really like the term marginalized because I think it's very demeaning to a certain degree. Why is it that we were here first and suddenly we're sidelined to the margins? I don't think that's fair. Therefore, I prefer the term Aboriginals because they really have been here way before. And so it is our responsibility, be it whether you are as a descendant of these groups or not, but in terms of preserving our Namibian identity, we do then have a sense of responsibility in each one of these industries. Entertainment, for example, we have an article that I really enjoyed writing, that particular editorial, speaking to musicians and finding out how the digital era is affecting them. That is the perspective and the lens at which we looked at the entertainment industry. And you'd find that in conversation with both old and young musicians, there is opportunity as well for corporates to again then come in and contribute with creating more platforms for these people to actually then to have sustainable livelihoods off of their craft, which is but anybody's desire, because as much as Ms. Gideon so well said it, as much as playing football or doing something is a full-time job, and even as you're sitting here presenting is a full, exactly, it's a job.
It's a job.
And so music is also a job, but it tends to not pay as well as it should in our country. And then you find people like Date Buti who then confided and said that no, in fact the digital era is affecting them terribly, particularly him, whose music we used to buy in the form of CDs, and now that is, you know, becoming outdated. How is this man how is he monetizing his craft? You get what I mean? Now we're able to just download his music from any website. Exactly. And so it spreads, but this person is not even being paid for the work that they put in. How do we mitigate these problems? Where do we meet our creatives in order to get our creative industry to that of South Africa's or Nigeria's? Because I mean, if our neighboring countries can do it, certainly there must be opportunity for us to do so as well.
I totally agree with that. And I like that, you know, in this edition, you guys are also, you know, making a platform, you know, not for the corporate world to understand the problems that exist, as well as also highlighting the corporates that are doing stuff, you know, in terms of responsibility and investment in society. And you guys did like an amazing job in highlighting that. And I think we need to have a discussion or more discussions around this. Like, you know, like you said, mentioned one thing, you mentioned artists. We don't have, you know, a lot of investments, or I've not seen from the corporate side that, you know, are helping in terms of the entertainment sector. But before we, you know, get sidetracked, how would you say companies in Namibia are tackling issues like diversity and equality within their operations? Any standout CSI, CSR moves that promote fairness and inclusion that you know of?
Well, certainly, and we also made it a point to highlight it. Namdeb has done exceptionally well in accelerating equal opportunities among the youth and also people of different sexes in the Karas region. They have spent approximately 10 million in the past year just on corporate social investment, which I mean speaks volumes to there's so much you can do with that. So it has been a consistent player in acting, being an exemplary corporate citizen. So I would say Namdeb has certainly done exceptionally well.
Well, before I let you go, because you and I are going to talk forever, looking ahead, what emerging trends do you foresee in CSI, CSR practices in Namibia, and how will your publication continue to serve as a platform for dialogue, innovation, and action in promoting corporate social responsibility?
Well, corporate social investment and corporate social responsibility, as we know it, is taking on a new face. And this is what you can find people in the mining industry referring to as ESG, which is then environment and social governance. That is your responsibility environmentally and socially, and also in terms of governance. How are you contributing to policy? So that is I think corporate social responsibility and corporate social investment, as we know it, is taking on a new front in the sense of it's becoming more holistic. The approach is becoming more holistic and allowing these entities to make a better impact also in the face of climate change. You know, in the face of climate change, you also then need to consider what can I not just do for the people, but also what can I do for the environment. So I think that is the approach and the future that we can then look towards expecting in terms of corporate social investment. And we as the corporate social investment, corporate social responsibility focused team will certainly, you know, keep our ears on the ground and see how more we can give opportunities of platforms to the corporates and see how they can play their role.
Okay, all right, Jemima. Like I said, if I chat with you, we'll chat forever. But that's all the time we have for you. And of course, if you guys want to read the Focus edition, you can get it in tomorrow's newspapers. That's the Republican, Algemene Zeitung, and Namibian Sun. Yes. After the break, Jemima Dembele will be speaking to a special guest.
Bye. Activate. Text, talk, and surf a little more. when you purchase and activate a new MTC Starter Pack. To check your free money balance, simply dial star 13100 hashtag or star 682 pound or SMS 13100. MTC. Make the connection.
For rich and for poor. Achieving shared prosperity in the Namibian house. As we stand on the brink of expanded economic diplomacy, the need for a truly just transition in Namibia has never been more pertinent. The action of a company supporting external organizations that do good in the form of monetary contributions or volunteering has reputational and social benefits, usually via third parties. The framework of accountability that companies use to look beyond profit maximization and analyze the impact of its business on these three ESG factors. This approach has reputational, regulatory, and financial benefits. The action of a company is doing well by doing good. It sees social impact as a competitive advantage that contributes to the company's long-term success. This has rolling returns for everyone involved and creates sustainable resilience for corporate citizens and civil society at large. Please get in touch on info@advantage.com.na.
Welcome back. I'm now joined by Nita Shikongo, the Communications Manager at Basecamp Hub. How are you today, Nita?
I'm good. How are you, Jemima?
I'm very well, thank you. Now, the Namibian startup ecosystem is growing rapidly, but I mean, you would have a better understanding of that. How would you describe the current cultural and economic climate of the Namibian startup ecosystem?
I think having been privileged enough to work in the ecosystem for more than 5 years now, we've seen immense growth in comparison to, a decade ago. You see increased activity within the growth of startups, but equally you also see that there's been a huge number of hubs and ecosystem support organizations coming up. And I think that's indicative of the fact that there is support, that there is resources, that there is opportunity for startups to grow in this country. And beyond that, there's a lot of room for growth, but you can see that not only Namibian entrepreneurs, but also public and private there is a bit of movement from both sides.
And how has Basecamp been assisting Namibian entrepreneurs in overcoming the obstacles and challenges that may come with establishing and exploring into a new business venture?
As an innovation and incubation hub ourselves, we offer an entire ecosystem of programs because we understand that not every startup is at the same place in their journey. So some are obviously just starting up, they still need work perfecting and adjusting their idea. Some are in the process of securing funding, some are trying to access international markets. So we've created an ecosystem of incubation programs and entrepreneurial development programs that support startups, not only providing them advice, but also resources, helping them refine their businesses. And then furthermore, we have mentorship and business coaching for startups that are further in advance in their journey. So those that are particularly looking to trade and export, like I said, across African or international markets, those that are trying to secure venture capital funding. So we've really understood that as a startup, you've got to go from A to Z. Yeah. So we've curated programs that cover all of those areas.
Oh, can you tell me more about the programs that are more specific to baby startups, if
like early stage?
Yes.
So early stage, we've got one that we recently introduced end of last year, which is not so much a program but more a workshop. So that is for somebody who is intrigued by entrepreneurship but doesn't particularly have a business idea yet, and we call that the Idea Gen. So it helps to stimulate innovation and creativity in somebody who may not particularly have an entrepreneurial background. And then once you've graduated or completed that workshop, you then move into our entrepreneurial program, the first one, which is the Hunt program. So the Hunt program is what you would consider a pre-ideation program. It's 1 month long, it's virtual, so that we're able to accommodate as many people as possible, even if you're not in the Khomas region. And there we particularly go through your idea, those who are operational or those who are just sort of crafting the beginning stages, and help you to refine that, help you to prepare how to pitch, help you to start looking into your sales and marketing and your customer focus and awareness. So that's really for somebody who's just starting or who's thinking about embarking on the entrepreneurial journey.
A lot of startups have gone through the hands of Basecamp.
Indeed.
What are some of the success stories that really stand out for you?
I think a lot of people don't know that we only began our operations January of last year, so January 2023, and only formally completed our first or concluded our first entrepreneurial program in May of 2023. So we are still also a baby, so it's babies helping babies. But I think we've had over 500 startups graduate from our programs last year alone.
Wow.
And that's out of 800 who've applied. So obviously for different reasons, some may not have completed their programs. But we've had over 500 go through our programs, and that includes corporate innovation hackathons and initiatives that we've had with public and private sector. So we can't particularly pinpoint and say that, Jemima's business or Nita's business have had this startup success, because it's still early on. But a lot of the most promising startups in our ecosystem have run through our programs, and I think those are the ones to have their eye on. So perhaps 2-3 years from now, when you and I have this conversation once more, I can particularly highlight who of those they are. But we are so very excited about the entrepreneurial prospects that are coming through our programs, as well as through the entire ecosystem in general.
Oh, that's beautiful. I am too. 800.
It's quite a lot. That's why I'm saying that there's a significant buzz, and I think it's important that people do echo into the ecosystem, because it requires an entire full circle of support. So it's not just the hubs that need to be involved, it's public sector that needs to be involved, it's private sector that needs to be involved, because across a startup's journey, especially in the first 1 to 3 years, there's a lot of challenges that they encounter. And as hubs, we can't, address those challenges on our own.
Now, before I let you go, what cultural developments or shifts do you foresee that might affect the ecosystem of startups in Namibia?
Most people don't understand the distinction between a startup or a regular business or an SME. And a startup is a fast growth business. So within the first 6 months to 3 years, you would already see valuation of anything between 1 to even 100 million. That can be in local currency or USD. You can prospect it in any way. And so one of the most important things that would impact the ecosystem is data technology developments and adoptions in our country. And I think we can look at the Ministry of Information, Communication and Technology. They are doing their part. There's also private sector. I know that MTC is looking to launch 5G. So an entire cohesive tech ecosystem and environment would only aid to assist not only our ecosystem in being seen and valued across the continent and internationally, but also allowing our startups' innovations to thrive better, because a lot of our startups are offering tech innovations and they need that cohesive environment. I would also say government, if we can get government support in developing a comprehensive framework and policy that is targeted to startups and that is targeted to creating a space that is cohesive for them and supportive, then I think we can definitely see significant growth if that can happen even within the next 2-3 years.
Certainly. Thank you so much for your time, Nita.
Thank you, Jemima. Thank you for having me. All right.
Do stay tuned as we hear more about the marketing side of this project from Shannon Camp and Glenora.
As we celebrate Namibia's independence, let's collectively commit to caring for one another. The Capricorn Foundation is devoted to creating positive change, spreading joy through compassion, and echoing the togetherness and resilience that define our nation.
Despite her demanding schedule, Mrs. Poenie Vanderberg has dedicated time to discuss the impact of law firms on our economy. By actively engaging in various initiatives and investments, law firms are not only contributing to the well-being of society but also fostering sustainable economic growth. The J.P. Kuruwahi Foundation, launched on March 25, 1999 by His Excellency the Father of the Nation and Patron Dr. Sam Nujoma in Windhoek, aims to sponsor scholarships for law students in Namibia and South Africa. This investment ensures the development of a robust legal education system and a future generation of talented lawyers.
Now, as I previously highlighted before, this focus edition, I'm just, in awe of it. It's amazing. It
Yes,
has,
it is.
thought-provoking articles, I would say, and also just like, oh, I didn't know these guys are doing this. And
Yes.
as Jemima, previously highlighted. Now, I'm joined in studio by Shannon Kemp, the marketing coordinator of this wonderful, wonderful focus edition. You guys did an amazing job, your team.
Thank you
I have to say kudos to you guys, and it's good that you guys have these, focuses, and I get to meet all these different teams. But like I said, kudos to you guys. As a marketing coordinator, can you tell me a little bit more about the clients that featured in this edition and why it was so important that you partnered up with them for this focus edition?
All right, thank you very much, Glenara, for this honor. Well, it was, for me, from a marketing perspective, it was really informative as well. It's weird how we know that corporates are supposed to give back, they're supposed to invest, and how they do it. But then it was very interesting reading about how they do it and how they go around it. And I mean, Advantage at the back of the page, if you can go to it. I know that I'm not supposed to start at the back, but it was important for them to let us know that it's not just about the donation part of it. It's not just about you giving back with money. It's about you enriching people with the skill sets and so forth. So it's also doesn't matter how big your firm is or how huge you are. It's just about the little impact that you have with the little that you do. Instead of giving donations, you use these funds to enrich them with skill sets and so forth. So for me, it was very important. And then there was also Dr. Vieta Kauta. I mean, that aspect for me was huge. I know that they're a law firm and they do law, and that's what I actually basically thought that's what they do. But it was really enriching to see that they're giving back in not just education. I mean, they are starting with JP Career Foundation. So they're giving funds there, which enriches us to get more lawyers. I mean, they are also doing pro bono cases. As far as I've heard, that if you do have a matter at hand, whether it's about justice and you cannot afford it, they do offer pro bono cases as well. So additional to the funds that they are giving back towards the education and donation, they also invest in time and solving most of our problems for us, informing us of the law and what to do and what not to do. So it was really informative, and I'm just glad that these corporates are using this as being forefront, And
I'd really like that you guys featured some, like the companies that you guys featured. For instance, one of our lawyers is from Dr. Vieta Kauta in Hoveka. So I didn't know that this firm is doing so much in terms of corporate social responsibility, and therefore I'm even more happier, if I may say, to give them money.
Yes. And as it goes, we are 34 years into independence, so it was really uplifting to see how much change has come from what they've been giving back and so forth. So from a marketing point, I'm really, really happy with the companies that came on board, which was the MTCs, the Dr. Vieta Kautas, and Advantage Marketing, as well as Capricorn Foundation. I mean, sometimes they even partnered. So there's law firms that partner with these corporates. and not the fact that they're just not investing their time into it, but it's funds, it's enriching us with skills, it's the education. I also read a part where they're giving back to the elderly, so we've been giving back, and it's really informative. It's nice to know that you know that we've grown in this aspect, and despite the fact that we're trying to make money, that we're actually also, you know, it's a busy world. We're trying to make money, but then we're also like literally also investing in the skill sets of it. So it was really important, and I'm really thankful that I got the opportunity to be a coordinator for a show like this.
Well, thank you so much, Shannon, for the work that your team has done, and also for coming here and sharing your views and also what we can expect in the Focus edition.
Yes. Before I forget, before you leave me, sorry.
Yeah.
I'd just like to inform the public that we do have a chatbot number, which is our WhatsApp number. It is 085-785-6231. So once you can access this, you can get our Focus edition digitally. So you just press in Focus, and then you follow the steps basically. So it takes you to a whole digital platform of getting this. So if you perhaps miss the papers tomorrow.
Yes, and also we save on paper.
Yes,
saving the trees.
We're trying to go green. We're trying to go on a safer pace.
Thank you so much, Shannon. This is a wonderful initiative. I hope more companies and more people know that you can do something like this. I love this.
Yes,
this is a wonderful initiative, and I guess it goes hand in hand with what this Focus CSI, CSR is all about. So with that, that's all the time that we have. But of course, I could talk to you guys forever. From me, Glenn Rashipura, until next time.